Administrative Director, please call roll.
Sure, 1 second.
We'll call Board of Trustees, Honorable Robert J. Torres, Chairman,
I'm present.
Honorable Artur C. Lamarena, III, Vice Chairman,
Here.
Attorney Jacqueline T. Terlahi, Member.
She's not here
Not
right
yet.
now.
Okay. Mrs. Donna R. Munya Kanata, Member,
Present.
and Dr. Christiana S. Whitman, Member.
She's appearing virtually,
Yes.
and so we have 4 of the 5 members present and do have a quorum. Notice was officially published as required by law in the post on the 19th and the 22nd. The first item is the approval of the minutes from October 28th.
So move, subject to correction.
All right, it's been moved,
Second.
seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, there being no objection, the motion passes. We'll now go into old business. I'm going to ask that we go through first maybe just a couple of items on old business, maybe just skip for now the financial status update and allotment release, and do the report from the PDSC, unless there's something out of the ordinary.
No.
If there's nothing out of the ordinary, that we just skip that and come back to that later if we have time. And we just do the quick updates from B, C, and D, and then move into executive session because Trustee Kanata has a conflict. She can only give us an hour of her time today, and I want to make sure we have enough time for the executive session because it's an important executive session to discuss the performance evaluations of the executive director and the managing attorney. And then I want to have time to come back to regular session to deal with the compensation and classification study. So those are what I hope to get done today. So if we can skip that, let's go then just quickly to a report from the PDSC Executive Director.
Thank you, Chief Justice. So we have reports there for our current active caseload, as well as we broke it down by courtrooms as well. And then, you know, those are all self-explanatory. And then we also submit our electronic monitoring report. And so we're trying to monitor it and ensure that everyone applies who's eligible. And so I think we've been pretty successful lately, at least in getting the hearing. A lot of times they're denied, but even though probation disqualifies them, some of them have still been getting electronic monitoring. Seems like one of their conditions is no prior bench warrants, but if they weren't released on an ordinary OR or personal recognizance bond, then, you know, it's different than if they were out on a bench warrant when they were released on electronic monitoring. So we're trying to make that argument. But other than that, you know, we have 2 attorneys starting one in January, one in February. So we're excited that we'll finally be fully staffed attorney-wise. And then nothing further.
Can I just interject a question? You know, the legislature just recently passed a law, which I think the governor signed, which will give free transportation from Guam mass transit to people that need it, especially people that are involved in the criminal justice system. I talked to Danielle, and they're willing to give at least initially 50 passes to, you know, to the court, so we can give it to the people on probation who don't have transportation, which is a common occurrence, as you all know. The issue is that they can't release it until rules and regulations are promulgated. I'm gonna make a request, if the chairman doesn't object, and the members, to have Steve, John, and Annie make an appointment with the director, and they get involved in helping promulgate the rules and regulations, so we can get this thing off the ground. Because if we don't do anything, nothing is, be 10 months before something Pat does. And I think the 2 agencies here that are sitting here today have a vested interest to make sure that these rules and promulgations are passed and implemented, because, you know, it will apply to help on most of your clients, okay? And Danielle says they're willing to give us 50 right off the bat.
Okay,
And it's on the first come, first served basis. So once we get the Ministry of Rules. So I'd like to make a request that you guys make an appointment, maybe sometime this month or next month with the director and then start having meetings to promulgate the rules and regulations, but your clients are the ones to benefit from this whole program. Again, it's free, so they're willing to give 50 to the court. Specifically probation to pass it out to people on probation or pretrial release that have no transportation. So maybe they can report it by the next meeting, Mr. Chairman.
yeah, that's fine.
Or maybe have a report
Yes.
by email as soon as possible.
Sure.
I'd like to get this off the ground quickly.
Yeah, we reached out
by
to-
January.
Yeah, we reached out to GRK already, so that won't be a problem offering that kind of assistance.
You know, and these don't really apply to the open government role, so you can just promulgate rules and regulations, have the board approve it and implement it right away. So I don't see any problems why this can't be approved by January 1st or something.
We'll work on it. with them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Definitely our clients will benefit. from it.
Yeah, definitely.
Good idea.
All right, thank you, TJ. Any further questions or comments to the Executive Director of APD?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. We put in our report from fiscal year 2025 in October, and then the calendar year from 2024 to date of how many cases we have pre-trial. And we did add the little box on the right is regarding EMP. So we pursuant to Judge Lamorena's request to always put something on there about our EMP program and what we've been getting. And I do agree with Mr. Hattori that sometimes we don't even apply for the EMP, but the courts ask for it when we do a bail motion or redetermination. They'll ask for EMP money and TPC. Those are for the kind of high profile cases. But we have been able to get the EMP going. Although I do have some people get revoked from EMP when they violate, so that happens. But anyway, the cases we have so far, pretrial numbers, we have 599 to date. Any issues? If nothing else, can just move on.
Okay,
go ahead.
this is for PD and APD. I'm talking about the deferred pleas of family violence, okay? The AG is very quick about determining who's eligible and who's not for deferred plea. My problem is that the defense is very slow. And I've had some cases where you wait till 1 year to get a deferred plea out. In the meantime, many of these people that I've noticed that if you get a deferred plea immediately, most people succeed through treatment and supervision. But I've also noticed that if you delay a lot of these cases, especially those 8 months or more, they tend to violate and then they end up in jail. And so, you know, I'd like to make a request that talk to your attorneys. As soon as your client is eligible for a deferred plea, especially family violence, that you do something about it quickly, not making, you know, like I had one just a week ago. The public defendant attorney said, oh, it's still under investigation. 1 year, the guy has no priors, one charge, family violence, and 1 year it takes for investigation. Give me a break. And another one and this is APD, an offer was made in April by the Attorney General's office, and nothing was done as of today's hearing. And I'm concerned that you people should, as soon as an offer is made, you should act on it, don't sit on it. And the offer was for credit for time served, you know, and that's very frustrating for the judges. These people have been released 8 months ago. You know? So can you review your plea, talk to your attorneys as soon as you get a plea offer or a deferred eligibility for family violence especially, that you act on it quickly. Don't wait 6, 7 months or wait till the next year where the judge asks, especially me, has an offer been made? Yes, we submitted it since April. And the attorney for the other side said, oh, we haven't yet discussed it, you know. And it also happens that the attorney that's responsible for that case is also on vacation, so. I said, somebody's gotta handle it, because this guy is for credit for time served, and he could have been out since April.
Okay,
So, you know, I'm very frustrated. Those are things I'm very frustrated, is deferred plea, family violence. I don't know what the delay is. I can see maybe there's a bench warrant against the defendant. But most of the time, there's no bench warrant. And the second one is these offers that may, especially those people who are incarcerated. You know, when are these situations gonna be resolved? Anyway, that's my beef, because I just had them today and I was not very happy with them.
okay. I like, we'll look into
So
it.
when a plea offer is offered, act on it like within 2 weeks. Don't wait 6 months, 8 months. Don't wait till the judge asks. Because, you know, the attorney general, they don't care. The more he stays in jail, the better. But it's your responsibility, and ethically, you have to get these people out. Okay, it's my piece. So I'm seeing too many of them already.
Yeah, that's frustrating, but we'll meet with our attorneys, we meet with them every day, so we'll raise this concern tomorrow.
It's not sinking in.
All right, any further questions from the, managing attorney? If not, CLC, Carol?
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. So we provided stats to the board, which is our fiscal year stats. I can attach next time the prior fiscal year, so you have a complete total from last fiscal year, but I'll leave that for you guys so you could review, and if there's any questions on it, you can ask. We're still conducting the risk assessments. We've reached about 182. We had 3 different outreaches in the past 2 weeks where we've actually brought out tablets so that we can mobilize the assessment tool on a tablet and let them complete the assessments there. Or we have the QR code. So we're doing that so that we can compile a complete report for the board, as well as, you know, just so that we have it within our community to determine the needs of civil indigent. I also was able to speak, or my staff was able to speak with Micronesian Legal. So we kind of have an idea as to the legal services they provide, as well as Guam Legal. So we're not requesting anything that is duplicate service. We're trying to request for services. What I do know is both those agencies do not do any type of domestic matters. And if it's, and because it is something that's high on our civil needs assessment list, and I'm looking at resources, something that might be proposed would be uncontested for strictly those that qualify for services under civil indigent, which is like uncontested divorce, uncontested custody, where it's affecting their ability to get public assistance or housing because it remains an issue. But it's that's something we can discuss later, Your Honor. I know because of time constraints, I just wanted to point out that we are conducting still the civil needs assessments. The other modifications we requested for are the services that are also high in priority, and that's on the list already. So if there's any questions, I'll entertain them.
All right, any questions? Okay, if not, I'd like to entertain a motion to recess from regular session and notwithstanding the agenda, and to convene into executive session so we can address the 2 performance evaluations for the executive director and the managing attorney, and then reconvene back to conduct the rest of the old business and new business on the agenda.
So
All right, there's motion by presiding judge, seconded by trustee Kanata. All those in favor say aye. Aye, there being no objection, we will now recess and convene into executive session.
Do you want me to step out as well and start with Mr. Hattori?
Yeah.
you'll be easy.
Thank you.
Did you need to meet before I?
Yeah, maybe we should just meet quickly, Steve, and then we'll ask you to come back in. We're taking action.
Exactly. We are all about the
Legislature service.
the absurdity of the law.
The PDSC Board of Trustees is now, rising from executive session and is back in, regular session. We've had a discussion, with both the executive director and the APD managing attorney on their performance evaluations that were taken. And I now would like to recognize presiding Judge Lama right now.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, on the reappointment of Steve Torrey, the board has recommended that Steve Torrey retain his position, current position as Director of Public Defender. And concerning Ms. Gale, we recommend that she retain a position as Managing Director of the Allotment.
Managing attorney, yeah. So there is recommendation, a motion by presiding judge based on the performance evaluations. We've discussed them. They both did quite well with the performance evaluations that the PDSC Board of Trustees would like to retain them both in their current positions as executive director and managing attorney for PD and APD. Is there a second to presiding judge's motion?
Second.
All right, there's a second by trustee Taitano. We have to finish your hyphenation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. There being no objection, it passes. We now will go back to old business and get to the executive director's compensation and classification. We just wanted clarification and have asked to go back and look at, I know Acting Director Call had given a analysis of the compensation that was done. And because originally the APD executive director was under the attorney pay plan, went to the executive pay plan. And now obviously attorneys are making more under the attorney pay plan than is making under the executive pay plan. And that Director Hattori has been under the executive pay plan for a number of years and got the adjustment from the 6% adjustment in 23 and then the adjustment in 22. But some increments may not have been provided as well. So we're going to ask that we get a recommendation from HR here on what the salary would be, proposed salary for executive director. We'll also do our own independent analysis and we'll take a vote at the next meeting on what the new salary will be, the increased salary will be for Attorney Hattori at the next meeting. It will be an increase. It's just a question of how much that would be. Okay. All right.
Without adding Ms. Gale.
No.
No, we're different.
No, it does not apply to her. She's a classified employee, not an unclassified employee.
And we also recommend a impact statement.
Yeah, on the effect on the
On the
budget.
effect on the
Once,
budget.
I mean, obviously, yeah, once we make that, it's hard to say what that effect will be when we don't know how much we're going to give.
Because my concern
But
is
once we know,
when I hire a new AD, we have to find out.
but I think, I mean, we're not talking about money that the current budget or with what lapses we have won't be able to absorb. So,
Just to clarify, so are you just talking about this current evaluation period, not the previous in 2020 when the no increment was stated for?
yeah, I mean,
Mr.
what we're asking for is a proposed recommendation on compensation overall,
All right,
okay? Because, yeah, because it is an unclassified position, right? And then we will also do the board will also do an analysis and we'll decide, looking at, we intend to rely on Barbara Perez also for HR to evaluate it.
Sure.
And then come up with a proposal that hopefully Steve will be happy with and accept. And we'll see. So I'd like to see both before we make a final determination on what that would be. Okay. But it will be an increase in compensation. What that increase will be is is still undetermined. All right, then, the Sixth Amendment Center projects.
So we did meet with Aditi Goel, she's the deputy director for the Sixth Amendment Center, and so we had a committee meeting. Jay was not able to show up, but we had a couple of court employees participate, and we're wondering if board would like a presentation. I know that Aditi indicated that he could explain the whole proposal like in half an hour.
You're talking about on the legislation aspect of it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think what it would be best is maybe when we get a final work product that the committee has agreed upon, then that would be the time, I think, to present it to the board.
Okay, so
Yeah,
if it's just a matter of that, I think we could come up with a final.
maybe by the
Right.
December meeting, hopefully, because that's what we're hoping. It's not gonna happen in this legislature, we
Oh,
know that.
definitely not.
But the final agenda's been done, but next legislature might do, and clearly we want to push to get it done before the next fiscal year.
Yeah,
Right.
hopefully attack for our 50th anniversary
Maybe find a
And
sponsor
maybe,
for the,
for the legislation.
no, not yet, well, hopefully our
When is the 50th again?
next year,
Yeah.
like
he
July.
wants to
This
get rid of
month,
us
yeah.
before
Yeah.
the 50th,
July. Yeah.
so he doesn't have to invite us.
No.
No, let's work on something, and the Bar Association can also aid.
Yeah, and I think it's like the 75th too of Organic Act, right?
Can we have the 75 for?
Can someone? do that?
1950
1950.
Organic Act, so it's 75 years.
1950.
So I don't know, there might be, we might get mixed up with all of that stuff. But ours is only 50.
It's a lot.
so- Right,
Mhm.
but yeah, so we'll work on that and,
That's district court, they're doing their 75th.
They're going.
They want to do a 75th anniversary because of the creation of the federal court.
Already, I'm feeling like I want to stay in
I know.
24,
Yeah.
sounding like a really busy year.
It's cool.
You know, what busy is like till then is coming, oh my God, but it's so busy.
So, yeah, we could try that, right?
All right, well, we'll wait and see. I mean, there's a lot more to go in there. Okay, then under the civil moratorium, final resolution.
You have to vote on that, right? Motion on that, or?
Yeah,
yeah, Carol's gonna address that.
Carol, can you talk about this?
We actually spoke about it last time, so we just corrected it to include like the provisions that we spoke about at the last,
Can you
Work.
just highlight that for us real quickly, just so we?
Sure, that was, so that's it's towards the end of the resolution. It's the third resolved, I believe. Third and down. It basically just allows it lifts the moratorium for the purposes of us handling, the cases that we had discussed, which was the representation of our manuncles, protective orders, legal guardianship over minors, and then the burial. Also, any court appointed, we had put ourselves on the court appointed guardian ad litem panel for juveniles. So that, PDs and APDs can focus on the parents. So for that, and then of course our at-risk veterans. And I believe, war claims was on there as well.
Okay,
Carol, are you still going out on the outreach programs to the Manapco centers?
Yes, we are. So we're actually about to launch. So we normally start around, this time, scheduling the outreaches. So Basil O'Malley's going to be the one, as well as my staff that will be doing the outreaches in the communities. And this year we're going to do a little bit different. What we did was last year we piloted in Arahan when we had our outreach there, and did actual mobile clinics out there where we performed the actual legal services at the community center. So that's what we're going to be doing this time around as well.
is there a typo in the resolution, Carol? Should that say burial of expired or in bodies?
Yes, supposed to be expired. That's correct, Your Honor. I apologize. It needs to be corrected with a D.
You have to make it consistent with the statute.
Expiring. That'll be.
Carol, on the outreach, have you talked with PBS on making a video?
Yes, we actually,
doing some public service announcements.
Yeah, so we're also gonna try to do those things as well with the media. And I know like there's other areas that we're currently working on. Like of course, the unclaimed bodies where I'm calling a meeting with the stakeholders on that portion so that because we're having a lot of that right now, discussion with the mayor's office or mayor's council and the mortuary funeral homes so that we can resolve that issue. But we do want to do outreach. We're also looking at opening an Instagram account for CLC so that we can have that outreach and then putting in our lobby area informational. We're trying to look for clips that we can use. So when they're sitting in the lobby area, they're at least looking at what the services are, like a brief description of the services, as well as all the federal mandates that we need to post on the walls. So all that's going to be popping up, kind of like just playing over and over. So that's things we're looking at right now. And then radio, of course, as we go into the 50th for public defenders, we're going to be doing media outreach as well.
All right.
Out of curiosity, how many unclaimed bodies have you represented?
We had, yeah, we were able to resolve it mostly without going to court. So we've had 3 just recently. But the mayor's office has told me they have more, and sometimes, it's not addressed as quickly, or how they're addressing it is they're just having the community pay for it. So we're trying to reach out to the consulate offices to see what if they want to be involved in this process as well, because some of them may want to take back the unclaimed bodies, to the other islands if they're from the other islands. So that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to just kind of fine tune the current statute so that it's culturally sensitive to the rest of the islanders here.
We're not paying for the costs, are we?
The government does. So for the ones that are unclaimed, where there's no family members, the government ends up paying the cost of the burial. Yes, that's statute.
Ship the body to the other islands.
That's why we want to speak to the consulate office to see if they want, because for those guys have been very, very supportive on those things where they find out that there's an unclaimed body from like their island. I think they've actually stepped up and found ways through their organizations here to help.
All right.
Realize there's so many.
They actually.
That's why they need,
That's why they need.
the services, yeah. And it's not services that the Guam Bar Association is jockeying to do.
Didn't see any credit.
All right, the next item on the agenda is, under new business, is the leave policy. And who's gonna speak on that?
So Your Honor, Public Defender's Office, the directors have discussed and decided that a donated leave bank policy within our office to benefit not just the PDSC employees, but also APD and CLC. That this policy would benefit individuals that are going through some type of crisis personally or medically, and people with their generosity of donating leave, can donate to the bank, and then employees as well can avail from the bank. One of the bigger points in this leave policy is that it's limited to 80 hours per fiscal year, and then it can go up to another 80 hours depending on the director's approval. So we listed down the policy with some definitions, try to tie it into something similar with the court's policy on a leave sharing or donated leave bank type of policy that the court has. And we also drafted the donated leave bank form for employees that want to donate. So for example, in the donated leave bank form, you're down to that one, Ken?
Yeah.
Right after that, there's you have options if you're resigning from government of Guam service and desire to donate all excess leave to the donated leave bank. If you're resigning from Gov Guam service and you want to donate a certain amount to the leave bank, but you want to maintain in case you return to Gov Guam service, because there is a law that allows you to retain your sick leave balance. Usually annual leave is cashed out. And that again is optional for the employee. The employee can either donate it or cash it out. Third option here would be an employee resigning that does not wish to donate to the donate leave bank. So that's an option as well. Someone that's retiring is the fourth option. They wish to donate their leave that cannot go toward their credit for time of service. And then the last one would be any excess leave at the end of the fiscal year that an employee that wishes to donate to the leave bank.
And this form is identical to the one that's the court uses?
I don't think it is. We formulated that based upon our own contemplations of this policy. But it does we basically use the court's policy as the foundation of developing this policy.
I noticed that the policy itself has it up at the beginning, has some stuff about requesting approval from the board and resolution number. I think what we should do is actually draft the policy as a policy and then have it ready with a resolution to support adoption of the policy and including the forms, and then have it presented for our approval.
Well, there is an attached resolution to this as well, at the last part of this.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
We don't approve the leave policy, we don't approve the individual leave request.
No, not,
It's
this
the
is
director.
This is the policy of establishing
we're-
donated lead bank, but the only reason, because when I was looking at the policy itself, it has the reference, right?
yes, sir. So I'm trying to reference the resolution number, basically, if the board approves it. So that's the point behind mentioning it in the very beginning of it.
But my problem is not the leave policy itself, my problem is, who approves the leave policy? Will the director approve it or the manager?
Well, the policy would be approved by the board, and then
No, but who approves the individual request?
the request will be audited by HR as well as fiscal. And then final approvals, either the director or executive director, or deputy.
Yeah, we have to make sure because, somebody has to make the final. approval.
It'll be one of the directors, basically.
Well, I think maybe, Annie for the APD.
Oh, yes, of course, yeah.
Steve for public defense.
Sure.
And then maybe just report that on a month.
Okay.
I don't think the resolution should also reference any powers of the judicial council.
Yeah, I think that provision.
Because I mean, that doesn't really,
What powers do we have? I'm sorry.
the argument is that under the judicial council's powers for personnel rules and
That should be
regulations.
the judicial council.
So there's a provision in the resolution that says,
Yeah, the whereas.
referencing the powers of the judicial council.
Yeah.
I mean, the APD board should have its own powers that are specific.
So I make amendment that where it says judicial council be the public defender trustee corporation.
Does,
We have to make those changes.
Yeah, I think the intention was just to tell us that that's where he got
Yes.
this policy,
Sorry, yeah.
right?
So,
Yeah, but make sure that it doesn't fall down to the resolve issue.
Yeah,
Because sometimes, it's the instinct just to,
yeah.
but the final policy that the directors are the ones to make a final approval. Then maybe just a report to the council. which states that-
Are we anticipating anything? I mean, do we have some people who are set to retire or depart and are asking?
Yeah,
That, I'm asking because the urgency, right? So if we,
it's not really an urgency, it's just we see that some people have left the service and then they have a leave balance that just basically disappears and no one
Yeah, we
benefits
want
from
to
it.
capture that for,
Yeah.
And so we
People
try
who
to,
are sick.
again, try to capture for the benefit of other employees.
we have that in the court, when this person leaves or a judge leaves.
I mean, they still have the choice to either donate it or not. It's their leave.
It's a
They make the
volunteer.
final choice on it, but I mean,
think
there's,
it's
there's
a
been
good-
some.
So can you tidy up the resolution then? I mean, if it's not urgent and,
Sure, sure.
Yeah, it's not
and
urgent.
get
Yeah.
everything ready.
Yeah,
and
I'd like
we'll
to
approve
approve it maybe by next,
Yeah,
Yes,
and I will just check.
Yeah.
Okay,
with the thing that the directors shall do on stuff.
It's gonna be a new wish.
And it becomes part of the report to the public defender,
Mhm.
board of
Okay.
trustees, we'd like to see what movements are making.
Mhm.
and maybe, yeah, okay. All right,
Especially for people that are really sick like cancer.
Mhm.
no, like you said, in time of crisis, it's
Yeah.
proven to be a very valuable resource for our judiciary. That's in there.
I've been so much.
But I wouldn't reference the judicial council, well, you can
Yes,
say pattern after, but I don't know that it's important, and you did that in the policy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, our next meeting is not going to be on Christmas Eve, December 24th, but instead we're gonna have it on New Year's Eve. January 31st, which will be,
December 31st.
I mean, December 31st, yes.
Well, I'll be off my own.
And Jackie will provide the
Or just send
celebration
someone.
drinks. I'm not gonna say what time.
I am.
All right, so can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn until
Second.
December 31st.
Second.
All
Happy
right.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Everybody, everyone.